welcome to or welcome back to my channel. My name is David and this is David's Closet. Here we like to talk about handbags, accessories. Sorry, I'm just making sure you can't see. I have some presents on that shelf right there. Gotta make sure you can't see them. You can't. Anyway, I like to talk about handbags, accessories, lifestyle, all of those fun things from the male point of view and on a budget. If that's something that you find interesting, please hit that subscribe button below, like, comment, share, do all the things with this video. I would be forever grateful. I really am working hard to grow this channel and it's been a really slow crawl, but I definitely want to continue the growth. So for that, I would be very grateful. Today's video is going to be not necessarily fully handbag related, and I want to address something with just the pure cost of these handbags and even more affordable brands such as Coach, Kate Spade, things like that. The handbag content might be a little bit less, and there may be more of the lifestyle, home decor, thrifting hauls, things like that, that I do feel like still relate to the luxury space because they are everyday or different kinds of luxuries. There's still going to be lots of handbags, don't get me wrong, but I just am not in a place where I can buy as many as I used to because the prices have gone up so much, especially on pre-loved goods. So you're going to see a little bit of a shift in the channels. I would say easily still 90% handbags, probably 10% other stuff. Today's video is two parts. One is going to be a story of how I got caught stealing a Louis Vuitton handbag and a thrift haul. So I went thrifting the other day. I took the week off of Thanksgiving, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Of course, we're off Thursday, Friday already. I took this off. I assumed my family would be doing a Thanksgiving dinner, so I took it off to help prep. And we decided to do something different this year, so we're actually going out. So I didn't really need that time to prep. So I did a little bit of thrifting and Christmas shopping and stuff earlier this week. And I'm gonna do this because I just want you to see that you can get so much stuff for so little money at a thrift store, and you can also save stuff from the landfill. So I was thrifting and I got two items. One are these placemats, and these are like the embroidered or woven placemat, so it's not just like a piece of fabric with a print. I don't know if you can tell here when I put it close, but it's actually kind of like woven material. And these are lighthouses, and they're all the same print. They do vary slightly just based off the placement of the lighthouses. And the back is just a black fabric. I saw these at my thrift store and they were in sets of two for $2.99 a piece. So $1.50 a placemat. And at first I put them back because I didn't want to spend that much. I do feel like, I sound so cheap, but I feel like they were just a little bit more expensive than I wanted and they should have been. The backs of them, they were covered in lint. There weren't any noticeable stains because I have purchased used placemats before and I usually just run them through the washing machine. I wash them on gentle, and then I have a laundry sanitizing liquid from Lysol that I'll use, and then just detergent and some OxyClean, and I've never had an issue with them, especially for my decorative table. Even if there had been some markings, as long as they were more towards the center, I probably wouldn't have minded because I have a plate that's going to sit over this. You're only going to see like the ends really. So, but I didn't see anything noticeable, but I did wash them really well. I tumble dried them on extra low for about 20 minutes, and then I let them lay flat on the floor in my laundry room overnight to finish drying, and they turned out beautifully. So for $1.50 a piece, I really couldn't pass these up. I'm so glad I went back and bought them. What ultimately made me do it is when I realized there was 6. It's always hard to find 6. The backs were very linty and just kind of dusty. Clearly someone had them in storage for a really long time. And some of them are in better condition than the others. But I was like, oh, they're dirty. I don't want to deal with that. I'm so glad I went back because how often do I see 6 of something? Never. So these are going to go on my coastal table, which you will see later this next summer. The last item I got, which is absolutely amazing, is this cast iron enamel coated Le Creuset baking dish. And as you can see there, I paid $9.99 for this. And this is Le Creuset. For those of you who know me personally already know this, but for those of you who don't, I do collect Le Creuset Dutch ovens. I have some of the Le Creuset bakeware, but I don't have any of the cast iron bakeware. So this was really exciting for $9 because these are over $100, probably $150 easily from Le Creuset normally. So for $10 and it's in brand new freaking condition, I could not pass this up. I don't think this was ever used. This is great to add to my collection. I have a bunch of the Dutch ovens in various sizes. Now I don't dedicate myself to a color, though I do love the original orange color. I am not like hardcore, it has to be one color, because I do buy mine usually on sale, so you kind of just get what you get. So I try not to be too picky. I have purple, I have blue, I have a brown one from like the 70s, which is my very first one, and I love that Dutch. I do have one of the original orange ones. I just kind of buy what makes sense and what's on sale. I'm going to rock with it because for $10, cannot beat it. So now, David was bad and David stole a Louis Vuitton. Guys, you can't make this up. I'm gonna throw a picture up here at some point when I talk about this. We went to a holiday craft fair market event that is put on in our city. There's actually 2 locations that do it throughout the year. This is one that's closer to where I live, and we haven't been in probably about 2 years. We went one of the first years right after COVID, and it was very disappointing to say the least. They really didn't have many vendors. The room was half empty. It wasn't really worth it. So the last couple of years we've put it off. Well, this year we decided, let's go ahead and go. We didn't have anything to do on a Sunday. It was the last day of the event, and we decided just to go. So we went, and I didn't buy much because, as you guys saw last week, the week before, whenever I showed you my decorations 2 weeks ago, I don't need anything. But we were walking through, and in the last row, I saw a bunch of Louis Vuitton bags like up high on a shelf in this little booth. And as I got closer, I could immediately tell those were fooies, and I could smell the plastic coming from the booth. But when in Rome, do as the Romans do, right? So I'm there, and I'm like, well, you know what? I'm going to go look, because where I live, I don't have access to real or not real luxury goods. And sometimes it is fun. Like in New York, one of my favorite things to do is walk around like Canal Street and just look at all the vendors with their Louis Vuittons and their Fradas. And I'm not ashamed to admit this. I used to buy non-authentics back in 2018, 2019. Before I started my channel and before I bought my first real luxury handbag, I had like 3 or 4 not authentic handbags. And I think I still have 2 of them in my closet, because one of them I want to cut up and try to make a pouch just for fun to play with a sewing machine. But I don't use them. I haven't carried them since 2018, 2019. When I purchased my very first Louis Vuitton Speedy is when I realized, oh my gosh, the quality is different. It's not the same. These are not the same bags made in the same factories at all. These aren't even the same materials. So that's really what turned me off, and that's the moment I decided I didn't want to buy them anymore. But anyway, it's always fun to look. So I'm looking around, and they have a few things that are interesting. There's some things that the manufacturers never made. Like there were Louis Vuitton wallets that were literally Michael Kors wallets with the word Louis LV all over them. And then it had like a metal thing that said Louis Vuitton in the same font as Michael Kors, and it just was not a vibe. So one thing about this vendor, and I'm not going to tell their name, where they're at, or anything. I don't want to put them on blast. But a few things. One, these were like C quality knockoffs. They were awful. They were all plastic. There was not one piece of leather in that building. Awful. Second off, why and how are you getting away selling knockoff counterfeit merchandise at a public craft fair in one of the largest cities in our area? Like, where I live is by no means like, you know, New York City, but it's not a small metropolis. So what are you doing? There's also police everywhere. Was a little bit shocked, but I decided to look. And I was looking at their Chanel, and they were awful. You open them up, nothing was lined up. It was smelly. It was bad. It felt like plastic. So I put it down, and I turned around again, just glancing, looking at the quality differences, because a lot of the bags they had there, I own the real ones. And I'm pulling up on my phone here a picture I'm going to pull up over here, because I'm not going to show anything like real bag-wise, because I don't have any to show you. The left-hand side of the photo is the one they were selling, the Fooey. The right hand is my real Louis Vuitton that I unboxed here several years ago. But the embossing is not the same. The embossing on that one is more just of an outline. The material was atrocious. It smelled like beep plastic. The handles had no structure, and you can see in my hand, they're just crinkled. Like they just bend to whatever you lift up. And that bag didn't have anything in it. So with no weight, that's what those handles looked like. The hardware, atrocious. Even the size of the bag wasn't right. It was just all around horrible. I'm getting ready to leave. We look around. My husband finds they have Goyard wallets. And he looks, because he's wanted a card holder, but he is really hard on things. He puts it in his pocket, it gets torn up. So he's like, I kind of would buy one if they were a good deal. I picked that up, I touched that. That thing is plastic. They had a Goyard St. Louis, which is very similar to my Artois. Plastic. Awful. So I told him, absolutely not. Not for what they're charging. No, 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 no. I would rather save and get you a real Goyard wallet. So me and my little bag here, we're walking through the place. I'm looking in disgust because these, again, grade D or less beef. And I decided we're walking out. I'm not buying anything, obviously. So I'm walking out and I'm holding this. I have a shopping bag with me. And this lady comes running after me in a very crowded aisle, by the way. And she's like, excuse me, sir, are you going to buy that? Did you want to buy that? And as soon as I heard her say, excuse me, sir, I knew what was happening. And you have like that split second to make a decision. Now, let me preface this with, I talk a big talk, but I am a local real estate agent. Though a large city, it's very small. And where this fair was is where I do a lot of business. So I have to be careful. I can't just make a scene in public. You know, I don't want to do that. So I turn around and I'm like, excuse me? And she's like, did you want to buy that? And I'm like, this is mine. And it was open. And like, I even like kind of hold it apart. You can see all my crap inside. And I'm like, this is mine. And then I said very loudly, and this is real. No shade to the fakes. No shade to the non-authentics. Like, you do you, boo. But those weren't good. That's kind of where I'm holding this right now. But anyway, and she gets closer. She looks and she's like, oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That's all she kept saying. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to steal one of your grade D knockoffs. And I turned around. My husband could tell I was upset. And it's not that someone thought I'd carry a fake or buy a fake. I don't give a crap. Like, whatever. To each his own. I'm sure many viewers probably think all my bags are fake, because people always do. But to be called out like that in public in front of all of those people, I mean, you're talking, there are probably tens of thousands of people at this thing. Like, a ton of people here. My husband goes back and basically confronts her and says, you know, if you're going to accuse someone of stealing one of your knockoffs, you may want to look before you start speaking. And this woman apparently just got very upset. And she's like, oh, as soon as I got closer, I realized it was not one of mine, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, because it's not a grade D knockoff. And then she asked my husband to be quiet, like to maintain quiet, because she doesn't want to get shut down. She didn't say that, but that's why. Because she's selling counterfeit merchandise in public. And like, this is like buried deep within a ballroom or an exhibit hall public. Like, this is not like New York where they have them on a sheet where they can pick them up with a zip tie and run. This is like, you have like a 3-mile walk to the car. And like to the nearest exit's probably like a mile walk. Like, girl, what are you doing? So she apologizes to him. Of course, I can't go back because I'm fuming and I'm going to potentially end up in jail. So I was like, I'm gonna let God handle it, because if I handle it, I'm going to jail. You know that TikTok sound? That was me. So my husband comes back after confronting her and basically telling her she needs to like get her shit together and she needs to stop accusing people of stealing. She does admit to him that there's been a lot of theft, and because of the nature of the business, she can't really go to security and say people are stealing. Well, I'm sorry, that's a you problem. I don't mean to sound rude. I don't condone theft in any way, shape, or form, but you are really selling stolen intellectual property. Again, this is not a video to bash the fakes. People buy what they want to buy. I think it's fantastic as long as you like it and you're happy with it, whatever. But it's just ironic that you're complaining about theft and you're illegally selling counterfeit merchandise, which is, again, intellectual theft. So she gives my husband this thing, like hands him something and says, here, you know, my apologies. Trying to shut him up because she doesn't want security to come over, because I'm sure that they turn a blind eye until something's brought to their attention. So my husband leaves, we leave, and I got this terrible Gucci pouch that I have off camera. I'm not showing you. I'm not promoting it. It's not a vibe. I'll be honest, I think I'm going to take it and use it when we go on vacations to places like the beach, when we go out on our family boat, things where I don't give two craps about it, the things where I won't even take my Coach bags or my no-name bags because I don't want them to get damaged. But anyway, that is the story of how I got accused of stealing Louis Vuitton. I was just horrified and very offended. Let me know what you guys would have done below. Let me know your thoughts below. All of the things. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Bye.